Hi, one Americano, please. Thank you.
बाइक कोणती आहे सर?
T. Thruxton. You see, Bajaj and Triumph have done it again. After impressing us with the Speed 400, the Scrambler 400, they have now taken a bold swing at the Cafe Racer Cool.
The Thruxton name first appeared in 1964, and while its modern revival comes in a smaller capacity form, it's carrying that heritage into a new segment.
Before you start throwing around the Thruxton name lightly, let's clear the air. This is not just a Speed 400 with a fancy fairing slapped on it. It's a lot more ambitious than that.
Visually, the Thruxton 400 hits many right notes with its authentic cafe racer look. Low-slung clip-ons, aggressive riding posture, and a sleek quarter fairing that makes you look ready for the next Isle of Man TT. Triumph's heritage shines through beautifully, meshed neatly with Bajaj's acute understanding of affordable thrills.
However, there are some curious design choices, like painting the upside-down forks black instead of retaining the premium gold finish of the Speed 400. That feels like a missed opportunity.
The black forks appear slimmer, giving off vibes more akin to the budget-conscious Speed 400 T4 than the upscale full-fat Speed 400.
Even those side panels, they don't have those 3 holes with the mesh, something that defined the Thruxton. That would have been a nice touch. In fact, even the rear end, if they would have done, instead of that stubby Speed 400 kind of a tail, they would have gone with longer overhangs, stubby yet more rounded rooster tail kind of a fender with fender mounted tail lights and blinkers. Now that would have been a more authentic cafe racer, more authentic Thruxton touch. That would have looked a lot nicer. Simply slapping on that removable rear cowl on that seat, that feels more like a Speed 400 RS than a proper Thruxton.
Another curious choice is the central alignment of the fuel filler cap, despite the Speed 400 already featuring a Thruxton-esque offset filler. This, we are told, is because of the slim 13-litre tank, and the clip-ons turn too close to the tank for an offset filler to be practical. Powering this mini racer is the same 398cc single-cylinder heart from the Speed 400, but with several key changes.
By now you must be wondering, is there anything positive I want to say about the motorcycle? Of course, yes. You see, just the way a black coffee is supposed to give you that nice hit, a Thruxton is supposed to give you that rush. It needs to have that rush from the engine, right? And that Triumph has managed very well. It's the same engine from the Speed 400, but it's uprated now. It's putting out 42 PS of power. And that's not just numbers. It's a full 1 second quicker to the ton. It even revs higher to 10,500 RPM now compared to the Speed 400's 9,500. Even the gearing is different. You see, the Speed 400 when it came, or even the export model, runs a 43-tooth rear sprocket. But the one that is sold in India right now runs a 45-tooth rear sprocket. This one knocks off those 2 teeth, goes back to 43. And it's not just the power and the RPM range, even the top speed has been increased to 161 kilometers an hour. Not 160, but 161. Why would that be? Think about it while I sit. Let me tell you, 161 was the target because they wanted a 100 mph target from this engine.
The acceleration feels punchier off the line, but the real-world performance advantage only comes alive beyond the 8,000 RPM mark. The mid-range torque remains meaty enough for lazy city riding in higher gears or effortless overtakes, but the engine's character here is more rev-happy and eager than the broad, punchy feel of the bigger Thruxtons. The exhaust note remains essentially the same, so the thrills are more about how quickly it spins to its higher ceiling than any dramatic new soundtrack. Chassis updates back up the engine tweaks. Suspension travel matches the export Speed 400 with a 140mm front and a 130mm rear travel. The steering geometry is sharper with a 0.6 degree steeper rake, contributing to quicker turn-ins. The Thruxton tips the scales at 183 kilos, 5 kg more than the Speed 400, but still feels light on its feet. The clip-on handlebars are 50mm narrower and 156mm lower, while the rear set foot pegs sit 86mm further back and 27mm higher than the Speed's. This rotates the rider forward for a quintessential cafe racer stance. The result is a motorcycle that flicks eagerly into corners and rewards committed riding. The bike not only feels confident when attacking corners, it also remains forgiving, allowing corrections and adjustments to your line. The slim seat lets you move around easily, though it would have been even better if the tank extended downward by about an inch for improved ergonomics.
In fact, there's one more problem. Let me show you. Come. When you get on the motorcycle, for my height of 5 feet 8, the seat height is really good at 803mm. But see what happens. When I lift my knees or when I bring them up to hold the tank, my knees are actually going underneath the tank. My legs seem to go underneath the tank when I want to just hug the tank. And that's not a feeling I want. While cornering, yes, the knee recesses definitely help. But when you're riding straight, this is not very ergonomic. And the other problem with the slim tank is that the fairing feels a lot wider than the tank itself. That wasn't the case with the original Thruxton. And because of that, it creates a lot of empty space around, which doesn't feel that great. They have added black panels in between to make it look a little less empty, but it hasn't worked. And then you have the single pot arrangement. You don't get the 2 clocks, and that again is a missed opportunity. If they were doing so many new things for the Thruxton, they ought to have thought about that a little differently. Because you see, the Thruxton was never an afterthought. It was planned from day one. So a twin clock setup would have been more in line, more authentic.
The subframe itself is narrower than the Speed 400's, meaning you can't just bolt on the Speed's luggage rack, top box or any of its existing luggage systems. Triumph hasn't designed a dedicated rack for the Thruxton either, yet. Instead, they offer a roll bag that straps onto the rear seat so you can carry either your pillion or your luggage. Unless, of course, your pillion is willing to carry the luggage for you, in which case, they are a keeper. While the Thruxton 400 carries over the same vibrate braking hardware from its Triumph 400 siblings, it feels noticeably sharper here, with improved initial bite and more reassuring stopping power. The lever feel is firmer, adding to confidence when braking hard. Tire options include Apollo H1s and MRF zappers, but as we found in the previous tests, the Apollos deliver significantly more grip and composure, making them the better pick for spirited riding. The instrumentation feels a touch too modern for a bike wearing the Thruxton badge. Something more in line with the twin clock setup of the original Thruxton would have been far more authentic and better suited for this retro cafe racer.
What's in a name, you would ask, but the Thruxton badge, it raises eyebrows. You know, Triumph in the past has distanced its smaller motorcycles from the Bonneville nameplate. They even rebranded the smaller Bonnie into a Speed Twin. They completely axed the Thruxton nameplate as well, and yet they decided to bring it back on this 400. Authenticity aside, I think Triumph is just trying to test waters here and see if nostalgia, brand value is able to get that market footing that they want.
To me, the Thruxton 400 lacks some of the authenticity I would expect from this badge. The naming plate on the side panel looks vertically stretched and out of scale, and the overall styling feels too modern, more in line with a Speed Triple RR than the classic Thruxton. It is probably a deliberate move to attract the younger audience that the 400cc segment targets, but for purists, it may feel like a missed opportunity. That said, the dwindling sales of the Thruxton 1200 that eventually led to its demise suggests that this style of cafe racer may not have huge following in 2025, especially at this price point. And the modern Thruxton 400 seems to be acknowledging that reality while trying to court a different crowd. Bajaj knows quarter-fed bikes better than most. Just look at the Pulsar 220F. They tried to retire it for the N250F, but the demand brought it back. That market insight bodes well for the Thruxton 400. Priced at Rs 2.75 lakh ex showroom, It's aimed at riders who might otherwise eye Royal Enfield's Continental GT650 or other retro-styled machines. Positioned between entry-level and premium options, it could be the sweet spot for enthusiasts moving up from Pulsars and Apaches as well. Bajaj should also consider offering a trade-in scheme for current customers, including those of the Speed 400 or T4, since upgrade will be a bolt-on retrofit job.
You see, the Thruxton 400, it looks very stylish, it handles really well, it looks desirable, but I think it's still going to have a very niche market for itself. It's positioned over the Speed 400, but despite that, the price point is such that it will not just attract new riders, it will also attract returning riders, seasoned riders, someone who want to have a Triumph in their garage, someone who want something stylish to add to their evening meets, coffee meets, breakfast rides, etc. So I think from that perspective, it absolutely nails it. Will it be a mass market offering like the Pulsar 220F? I don't think so. That's not going to happen. It's not going to find that level of street cred, that level of mass appeal. But at the same time, if you've been avoiding something like a Pulsar 220F because of its rough and ready attitude, then this is the more stylish, sophisticated and premium alternative that you should definitely look at.